Come to New England and you will see a whole different side of turkey hunting. Full tilt, lots of gobbling, and talking to an animal.
How do we stop hunting from becoming a curse word? We say that we're dying, our heritage is struggling, but yet gangs are doing things illegally and they're flourishing.
I get asked, how many turkeys do we have in the eastern part of the United States? And we have absolutely no idea. I think as turkey hunters, we become beyond passionate about it. It borderlines on fanatical.
Well, most of the birds in this area where we hunt, whether it's Rhode Island, Massachusetts, or about anywhere, half the battle is just trying to locate them. That's what we do here in the Northeast. We hit a lot of properties. We're calling, we're gonna hammer on them, we're gonna try to get a shot gobble. If we get that, we're gonna try to go set up where we think these birds are gonna eventually end up, and we're gonna try to work them. I just saw the very tip of a tail fan, but I could see it just walking through. He just went through a little shimmer of light. Again, we hadn't heard gobbling all morning, really. Didn't know if these were toms, jakes, hens, so just get in the woods, find a place to set up quickly, and start calling.
We had these birds coming up, and I thought it was going to be a home run. I see these black birds walking up, and all of a sudden, and it was basically 4 jakes. I was set up against a tree. He had to scoot and shoot with him, and he was behind it. Now, Matt's 6'something", 6'5", 300 pounds, and here he is hiding this massive body behind a scoot and shoot, which is comical at best. Come right in within 4 or 5 feet of Matt, and it would have been a layup for us if they happened to be mature birds.
But I would also caution everybody, when you're with a turkey decoy like that, you do have to be careful. You are imitating what everybody that's in the woods this time of year is trying to shoot. You have to be, really cognizant of the people and the properties that you hunt and what you're doing and what the sounds are. And if you can do those things, it's a great tool. But when they lock on that decoy, that's the only thing they can think about, and they are fixated on it. And those birds almost stepped on it. Take one for the team, Jack. I tried to convince Jack that it'd be a great idea to shoot one of those with his flintlock. I'm glad he didn't, but we had fun, and really, I enjoy calling in a jake like I would a mature tom or any other bird. I got turkeys in my yard. Turkeys in my yard. Yeah, mother got turkeys in my yard. I got turkeys in my yard. Turkeys in my yard. Yabba dabba doo, got a turkey in my yard. Skibbity boop. Take one for the team, Jack.
Sounds like a bigger bird in the back.
I know, man. I've had so many jakes, like super jakes, like sound like all world.
If you go back and look at early colonial records, when we showed up in North America, there were turkeys everywhere.
As European settlers came here, they lived off the land. We saw a real decline, not only in the wild turkey, but a lot of game species that were heavily used by settlers.
You saw large expanses of the eastern United States were deforested.
Also in this country, game meat was highly desirable, and market hunting became very prevalent.
Turkey populations plummeted.
As it was recognized by early conservationists that we were going to have to do something to stop that decline, that really started the beginning of conservation efforts. So Tom Rogers established the National Wild Turkey Federation in the state of Virginia in 1973. The Turkey Federation took the goal of restoring the wild turkey.
They've been reestablished or established in 49 of the 50 states, 6 Canadian provinces, and across Mexico.
As we learned more about the wild turkey and its habitat needs, we also became better stewards of the land.
It's probably one of the largest success stories in North American wildlife. And then really just the resounding effort of what hunters bring to the table, and that hunters are the true conservationists.
Hunting came for me because of abuse in the home. I lived with my grandmom and had a chance to visit my biological mom's house on the weekends, and it just wasn't that nice of a place. However, there was a woodlot adjacent to it that I was able to go to That time that I spent chasing Mother Nature's critters took me away from that home. We say that we're dying, our heritage is struggling, but yet gangs are doing things illegally and they're flourishing. Like, what is wrong with our thinking? There are opportunities to build our family a lot deeper. This surface stuff isn't good enough. So then we ended up having a strutter out in front of us for about, oh goodness gracious, probably 45 minutes. And there was nothing that we could do because, once again, we're landlocked by private property. We had a hen going to him. You could hear her yelping, and we figured, hey, if she got to him, the game might be over. So, you know, once again, teaching for as many years as I have, there have been a bunch of girl fights, and those always start by people talking. Shit, there's a hen. Damn it. I love this Dr. Dolittle approach in regards to being able to talk to the animal. We built our heritage off of families. How do we continue to build families? How do we continue to welcome people into our home? By making things accessible, by giving opportunities, right? And not giving opportunities because somebody has a color of a skin, but because they're worthy of being part of our family. I'll tell you, something special.
Decided to change it up today and go to another property that was about an hour south of where we'd previously been hunting. There's definitely birds here, and you know, we got out there this morning and didn't hear a peep.
Everything else is gone. Barometric pressure's rising this morning. They should be gobbling according to the science that I've published.
I've hunted 6 out of the last 9 days and might have heard 2 gobbles in 6 days, and they hadn't been anywhere close. And if they have gobbled, it's been one time on the roost and they hit the ground and poof, they're gone.
We've seen persistent long-term declines in productivity across the South and East, to a lesser extent in the Midwest, but there are issues with productivity in the Midwest as well. And all of that kind of boils down to a litany of causes, some of which we have a fairly good thumb, if you will, on those, such as predation. We know that predation is high on this bird. This bird has always been in the presence of predators, but the predator communities that we have now in the eastern part of the United States are incredibly more diverse and abundant than they were historically. So you have a bird that's dealing with more predators in general, and they're doing that in a landscape that is in many ways more suited to a predator than a wild turkey. We've fragmented much of the eastern United States. We've removed hardwood forests and replaced them with either infrastructure or short rotation, pine forest. It appears that we may have some emerging diseases that we don't fully understand. And you also have a subspecies that is hunted more than any of the other subspecies. You put all of that together and you have declining production, you have the harvest of this bird, you have predator communities that are evolving and are more complex, and it's worked to the detriment of this bird. In many states, we're starting to see fairly sharp declines in harvest. Not all states, but some. So the bottom line is we're not making as many turkeys, and we're harvesting a lot of turkeys. So we're in a situation now in the Southeast where we're going to have to change course. Harvest is one of the only things, in fact, it's the only thing that state agencies can control at a broad enough spatial scale to matter to this bird or any other harvested species. And we also don't know what's being harvested. We may know numbers of birds, but we don't know the rate of harvest. In other words, the percentage of the population that's being harvested. We have to look at it with somewhat of a grain of salt approach, and what I mean by that is We may know how many birds we're harvesting, but we don't know what percentage of the population that is or what the population itself is, and those create some challenges for agencies.
So it must be just that. That's that ridge right there.
Yeah.
It must be all top ground once we get up there.
Go through kind of the bottom part of the field. We cross a dam. We start heading up into what looks like unbelievable turkey habitat. Little did we know, this was the mecca for all turkeys.
I bet you he's one of this bird, like one of those birds that like, he'll let you go a little bit. And then he'll come and he'll give you one gobble and he'll probably be like right on us.
Get about 300 or 400 yards into the woods, and I'm telling you, this place was just tore up, you know, with acorns everywhere and turkey scratches everywhere.
Some people don't like to call too much, but there's something about a bird, there's a radius. And that bird, if you call within that radius, he will gobble. We decided we're gonna try to go right at him. And right at him was in the thick stuff.
He's moving on that ridge. He's up top on it.
A beautiful oak grove, stone wall down to a valley and then up on a ridge. And he hammers this call again, and doesn't the guy answer again?
He's coming.
For whatever reason, he's coming. And he made a beeline straight up the hill. And right when he crested out, Jack could see him. Jack's on him. He's got the smoke pole ready to roll. I have never seen anyone shoot a turkey with that type of firearm. Touches the hammer, and there's that classic when the smoke clears and the birds flopping. And what a day in the turkey woods. What a day to enjoy the outdoors and friendships and storytelling and the whole nine. And we're going to be eating well. Can't get any better than that.
Wow. Dude, that's a heavy bird. That's 22, 23 pounds all day, man.
There's turkeys in my yard. There's turkeys in my yard.
I think people have lost the real connection to the outdoors. I don't need to be hunting to want to be in the outdoors. Matter of fact, I wake up and can't wait to leave the indoors. And then you start tying it back to things that they can really relate to. Again, for me, it's the food. It's that social aspect, you know.
But if we don't become inclusive, right, and that's the key word, we're going to continue to struggle with our heritage.
I think as turkey hunters, we become beyond passionate about it. It borderlines on fanatical.
You know, we got to make sure that what we do is purposeful, it's respectful, and it speaks to the true heart of who we are as outdoorsmen.
I cherish the experience of being able to hunt this bird, so I want to make sure that in perpetuity this bird's on the landscape in the numbers that they currently are or greater. And the only way I can do that is to give as much as I can. I have to give my time, I have to give money, I have to give whatever resources I have available to me to make sure that I'm giving back as much, if not more, preferably more, than I'm taking.